December 7th. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate comes out for the Nintendo Switch on December 7th, later this year. I know that I'm super excited about it, and I have a pretty good feeling you are too. I'm TJ, and this is Smash Ultimate Countdown. Instead of just leaving us to stew in our anticipation, Nintendo has given us the Smash blog. It's on smashbrothers.com, and it allows Nintendo to drip feed information about Smash Ultimate. It ranges from characters to stages, items, and even music samples. So what's this all about? I'm really excited about Smash Brothers, and I could of course just go to smashbrothers.com and read through the blog, but I have a really hard time keeping it to myself. Basically, I just want to use Smash Ultimate Countdown as a way for me to help you stay up to date on all the latest Smash news, weigh in with a little bit of opinion, share my thoughts, and spark up a little bit of a conversation in the comments section. To stay connected, make sure you hit that subscribe button and be sure to ring the bell for notifications. We can unpack this piece by piece together to see what new tidbits of information we can glean from the Smash blog. Now before we get too far into this, I do want to mention anything that Nintendo announced during their E3 presentation. I've probably already addressed it during my E3 recap video. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and give it a watch. So I'm just going to do a really broad overview of anything that broke during E3. Now let's start at the beginning. The very first post on the Smash blog is reconfirmation that the game is releasing on December 7th. As promised in their very Splatoon-heavy direct where they first announced Smash Switch, the game is a 2018 title, but I have to admit it's a lot later in the year than I expected. With Nintendo's new online subscription service starting this September, I kind of expected them to lean hard into a heavy hitter, and I can't really think of a title that would really push people to Nintendo Online better than Smash Brothers. So it really just made a lot of sense to me for the game to coincide with the release of that service. But that said, it didn't feel like a long enough span of time since the release of Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS. So I guess the fact that Nintendo built in another half a year from the time that they announced the game isn't really that much of a surprise, and personally, I really don't mind if it means they're going to take all of that time to really polish the game, refine it, and pack as much content into it as they possibly can. The next item on the Smash blog is a list of confirmed characters for Smash Ultimate, and it's all of them. Literally every single character who has ever appeared in a Smash Brothers game is in Smash Brothers Ultimate, and that's where the Ultimate comes from. It combines all of the experiences that you've had with the past titles and distills them into the greatest and most ultimate that you can possibly have. So no matter who your main was, from 64, Melee, Brawl, for Wii U and 3DS, they are now in this title with a couple extra to boot. I spent a lot of time speculating on this with my buddy Amiibo Jason in our series Smash Switch Speculation leading up to E3. We even had an episode dedicated to the 6 veteran characters that were cut between the previous versions of Smash and the one for Wii U and 3DS. Some of them we thought would come back and some of them we didn't. I don't think either of us expected, or really anyone out there expected for that matter, that literally all of them would be back. And mini side note on that, Charizard has been restored to the Pokemon Trainer, and all of them count as one character now. So you don't get like Pokemon Trainer plus Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Charizard. They're just all Pokemon Trainer. How it originally was and how it was always meant to be. One of the things that made the Smash 4 hype cycle so much fun were the amazing character announcement trailers that they had. And we did get treated to one of these at E3. It's also the next point on their Smash Brothers blog, and it features Ridley, a character that people have been requesting for Smash Brothers for a long time now. Probably Samus's most iconic villain from Metroid. It's always great to get another villain in the game. I loved all of those Smash 4 character introduction trailers, and Ridley's was no exception. He was announced in dramatic fashion. We got a sense of his brutality, the way that he takes out Mario and Mega Man, but they kept it a little bit cheeky like Smash does, and they had him kind of twirling Mario's hat. It was great. And what's interesting about Ridley is, unlike some of the other characters that are commonly announced, Sakurai actually addressed him specifically why he was not included, and he had not really considered him because of his size. He was just too big, and Sakurai didn't want to shrink him down, which is interesting because Smash Brothers, as I mentioned in my E3 recap, does play fast and loose with scale. You have characters that are not proportional relative to one another. The example I like to cite is Olimar, who is minuscule. He's smaller than a quarter, so when you have him next to Pikachu, for example, and they're the same size. Actually, Pikachu is another example of someone who's probably a little bit bigger than he would be. So the idea that Ridley could be scaled down just a little bit to squeeze him into the Smash roster, I don't think is really going to upset anybody. And don't quote me on this, but I actually think Ridley's scale between game appearances actually fluctuates a little bit. In some titles, he doesn't really even seem like he's that much bigger than Samus, and in other ones, he's enormous. But what other Nintendo villain can we describe in that exact same way? Bowser is like that all the time. In Super Mario Bros. For the original NES, if you're Mushroom Enhanced Mario, Super Mario, then Bowser is really not that much bigger. But then you go to a game like Mario 64 and Bowser is just enormous. So for me, I think it's totally okay to afford Nintendo a little bit of latitude when they're determining how big these characters are supposed to be next to each other. And Ridley did appear in Smash 4 as a stage boss, and he was huge, just really big. I know I'm really drilling into the scale point, but I did get to play against Ridley a number of times at E3, and that was my takeaway, is how massive he is. Even though they did scale him down a little bit, my overall impression is that he is way bigger than any of the other fighters in the game. His body is pretty hunched over when he's moving around, so I think that does make him a little bit more manageable, but at some point he like draws himself up to his full height, and he's literally twice the height of some of the other characters. One of the next items on the Smash blog is to announce the existence of the Smash blog. The official website for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is now live. You can go there right now on smashbrothers.com and check out the trailer to literally every character in the game. All 65 characters do have their own little movie trailer. They're super cool. I went through and watched every single one. They also make a point of mentioning you can check out some theme music and more. Many talented musicians worked on the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate soundtrack. You can hear some of their music right on the official website, and Nintendo is committed to adding more. Now here's a pretty cool one. Every single amiibo that had functionality in Smash 4 works exactly the same way in Smash Ultimate. Not only that, but any of the work you've invested in developing and training these amiibo, that transfers over too. That's totally amazing. What do you guys think? They agree. I personally put a ton of time into Amiibo on Smash for Wii U. Pretty much all my content on this channel is Amiibo and Smash related. Smash Supremacy, Me v Me, all 3 seasons, Smash Chess, even Custom Conquest was born out of my desire to have the exterior of the figure match their in-game appearance. In the case of like the Koopalings and the Villagers and Dark Link. And of course, Hero TJ and Dark TJ. Now here's where the news gets super cool. We also got to see the Inkling Girl amiibo and also the Ridley amiibo. They look totally sweet. During E3, Nintendo also confirmed that Princess Daisy would be receiving her own Smash Ultimate amiibo. And over the past couple days, Nintendo also confirmed that any returning veterans that do not already have an amiibo will be getting one as well. But that begs the question, most of the amiibo that were originally released for Smash 4 are no longer available. So obviously Nintendo's going to need to come up with some sort of solution to make those amiibo available again for anybody who missed them the first time or are completely new to the game. Now obviously they could just reissue all of the ones that they previously had. But I'm actually of the mind that Nintendo's going to release a new amiibo based on the key art for Smash Ultimate for literally every single one of the characters. Now, I know that the very thought of this has collectors' wallets crying the world over, and obviously you don't need it, especially if you already have an amiibo of the character, but wouldn't that be cool? Smash Bros. Was the vessel through which Nintendo brought us amiibo in the first place. The idea of starting all over again and having 65 plus amiibo released for Smash Ultimate over the course of a few years, actually that kind of excites me a little bit. If you're one of the people who picked up all the amiibo for Smash Wii U, do you feel the need to get them again for Smash Ultimate? Now maybe you're somebody who skipped amiibo altogether. Does Smash Ultimate kind of pull you in a little bit, give you that itch, start collecting some figures, or maybe just your favorite character? Are amiibo back? Or is Nintendo trying to revive a fad that's best days are behind it? Let me know in the comments section below. The next bit of news is something Nintendo did announce at E3, and I did cover in some detail during my E3 recap, but it bears repeating here because it is just such great news, and that is that the GameCube Controller is compatible with Smash Ultimate. It really is the best way to play the game, in my opinion, and if your opinion is any different, you are entitled to your opinion, but it is a wrong one. I mean, come on, look at this big green button centrally located on your button pads. This controller is perfectly designed for some Smash action. Nintendo's even reissuing a Smash Brothers specific controller. It's got a nice little Smash decal right there. It is a wired controller, which you probably know is more popular in the competitive scene because you have less interference. And since Nintendo is really trying to push their Versus series, trying to maintain a strong presence in the professional community, making a wired one is probably the more logical way to go. But let me tell you my personal hope. I don't just want a reissue of the GameCube controller, I want a wireless version. And there's a few reasons. I have evolved beyond cords in my life. That's one reason. And also I have kids. And so we've been playing a lot of the Super Nintendo and NES Classic, and these are wired controllers. I cannot tell you how many times that poor little SNES Classic has been pulled off the shelf because my kids are not cord conscientious. I imagine a lot of kids are not. And then with the NES Classic, there was the criticism of how short the cord was. Maybe you are not very proximal to where your device is located. So having to be tethered by a cord for a lot of people can be very inconvenient. Also, and I know this is a little bit controversial, but I feel like the Switch sports the most unacceptable controller options of any system Nintendo has ever created. One of the things that has made me a passionately devoted Nintendo fan from the beginning is they just knew how to make a decent controller. And anyone who's ever purchased a third-party controller for the NES, the SNES, the Nintendo 64, the Nintendo GameCube, you know that they are not up to the same standard. Nobody makes controllers like Nintendo. Unfortunately, I think they peaked with the GameCube controller. The Wii and the Wii U did their own thing, that's fine. They both did have pro versions, which were fine, but in my opinion, they were no GameCube controller. But the Switch sports what I would consider to be barely acceptable controllers, and I've complained about this quite a bit. I would describe the Joy-Cons as better than nothing, and I would describe the Pro Controller as a tragically missed opportunity. When the Pro Controller was first set into my hands, I have to admit, it felt amazing. But then when I started using it, I realized that it has zero Amiibo functionality. I died so many times in Breath of the Wild trying to spawn Wolf Link in to help me, just running around with bad guys chasing me, and it takes 20, 30, 40 attempts until this thing scans. I finally just accepted I can't use the Pro Controller. And then also, the directional pad does not register inputs, it registers suggestions. Left is up, down is right. Whatever you push, it determines by itself what it wants to be, and that lack of specificity and precision makes that controller an unacceptable option for me personally. Also, if the Joy-Con buttons are too small, the Pro controllers are too big, so going between the two of them is really like doing thumb gymnastics for me. I don't like that. The GameCube interfaces with the Switch via the same adapter that was used for the Wii U, and reissuing the controller is all well and good, but I want Nintendo to take it a step further. I want a controller based on the GameCube design, make it wireless, add in motion control, give me an NFC reader right there, and add one more button right on the top, and you have the greatest controller ever made. Boom! During E3, Mr. Sakurai made an appearance on the Nintendo Treehouse to cover some of the minutiae of Smash Bros. In some detail. I won't go into it too much here, but I will say it's worth the watch. Find it at smashbrothers.com. So far, the Smash blog hasn't been used to announce any new characters, but it is being used to spotlight specific characters. And the first one Nintendo highlighted is one of their new characters, the Inkling. I did get to go hands-on with the character at E3. Obviously, pre-E3, everybody knew they were coming. It was the character that Nintendo used to announce Smash Switch. But even before that, I don't think anybody had any doubts in their mind that the next iteration of Smash would feature the Inklings, because it was a runaway success franchise for Nintendo and one of the only ones that was not featured in Smash Wii U outside of the Mii costumes. So their conclusion in whatever Smash Switch would be was a foregone conclusion, but it's nice to finally see them up and running, and I think they're going to be a really good fit for the game. Keeping with the Splatoon theme, the Squid Sisters were announced as an assist trophy. As Kelly and Marie put on their little show, the camera keeps punching in closer and closer, limiting the space that you have to fight. With how successful the Kelly and Marie concerts are in Japan, I can see their concert being a little bit of a distraction for people who are trying to get their fight on. I think it's a pretty cool addition. How about you? During E3, Nintendo also dedicated a little bit of floor space to some of the key props that are featured in Smash Bros. Probably the largest and most notable is the sandbag, but we also got to see the Master Sword, my personal favorite, Mario's hat, Bayonetta's guns, King Dedede's mallet, the can from Duck Hunt, and also Shulk's Minato blade. The other character spotlight is for Ridley. We've already covered him at length, so no need to rehash that there. He's gonna be awesome. I'm looking forward to him. There's a cool new item in the game featured on the Smash blog called the Launch Star. If you touch the star, you'll be launched at high speed, so cleverly placing it could lead to an easy KO. I think this item comes from Mario Galaxy. Don't quote me on that. If I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody will tell me in the comments. And the next character spotlight is for Princess Daisy, who's being branded as an Echo Fighter, a new term in this game, which I think previously we just called them clone characters. Other characters described with the Echo title in this game are Dark Pit and Lucina, who are echoes of Pit and Marth, respectively. Daisy is going to be an echo of Peach, unsurprisingly. And I think it's a really fun way to be able to incorporate a whole nother character into the game without really having to go through the work of completely redesigning somebody, particularly when they have a lot of similarities to another character. So it's just like a little extra bonus character. For all you Daisy fans out there, Congratulations. During E3, Nintendo held a Smash Invitational where they invited a handful of professional players to come in and compete in a tournament. Retired Pro Smash Superstar Zero took the top spot, and I don't think that comes as a surprise to anyone. The competition was intense. Everyone came with their A game, and it was really exciting to watch. It's available up on YouTube, and I'm sure Nintendo has it somewhere on their website as well, so you can see it if you missed out. It's just jaw-dropping how good these pro players got with the game in such a short span of time. So congratulations to Zero. It was just beautifully poetic to see Mario standing in the winner's circle when the dust settled. Nintendo also announced a new item, well, not a new item, I guess, but it's a Pokeball, a new Pokemon to come out of the Pokeball. That's Alolan form Vulpix. If you're at all familiar with Vulpix, it's a fire type, one of the original 150. But in Pokemon Sun and Moon, they introduced Vulpix's icy Alolan counterpart, and if released from their Smash Ball, they will rain down some icy fury. It actually just freezes opponents with ice breath. With the 3 newly announced character entries out of the way, Nintendo's gone all the way back to the beginning to focus on their main mustachioed mascot, Mario. In Smash Sword Speculation, Amiibo Jason and I discussed the possibility of Cappy's inclusion in Mario in whatever Smash Switch would ultimately be. He seemed to be of the opinion that a full Mario makeover was long overdue, with a heavy Mario Odyssey focus. I, however, was on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, and I didn't personally think Cappy called for more than a subtle nod. And based on what we've seen so far, it looks like that's probably more in line with what happened. We do get a little bit of a Cappy cameo. It seems like it might be a taunt. I don't know that he actually has any direct impact on the moves, but I'm not 100% sure on that. This is just my opinion, and I realize it's an unpopular one, but to me Mario Odyssey is the least Mario game of any Mario game I've ever played. Through the prism of history, when we look back, I think Mario Odyssey is just going to be a little bit of a footnote. I don't think it really advanced the series in any way, and in some ways it actually kind of regressed it. So the fact that it didn't have too strong of an influence on the way that Mario plays in Smash Brothers, to me I consider to be some good news. I've never been a Mario main, but he's always been a little bit of a back pocket character, somebody who I can go to and feel fairly competent with, and I think that's by design. Nintendo purposely made Mario a very accessible character so that anybody could feel comfortable choosing him and feeling like they're not completely out of their depth. The next feature on the Smash blog is with respect to stages. The first one being Battlefield. To me, Battlefield is like the classic stage. I like it way more than Final Destination. You've got your main platform and then 2 floating platforms on either side, and then also 1 floating platform right in the middle, and it feels like you have a lot of room to work. You can play with the layers that you don't get in Final Destination, where it's really just one flat plane, and so to be able to move your character around and have different places where you can rest and recover and plan and scheme, I just think it makes the game a lot more fun. It also affords you a little bit more real estate when you're playing multiplayer. One of the cool features in Smash Wii U is that each stage had an Omega form where you can basically convert just about any stage into Final Destination. But now in Smash Ultimate, you can still do that, but you also have a Battlefield option. So in Smash Ultimate, in addition to being able to get your nice flat plane for Final Destination style in any stage, you can also have your Battlefield, which give you your little platforms on there too. I think that's really great news, and also I think it kind of gears itself more towards the competitive scene, where they wind up getting stuck playing just the same few stages over and over again, but now it pretty much opens up any stage because it doesn't affect play. You don't want this stage to influence the outcome of the battle. You want it to really be player driven, and hopefully this will help out a little bit where that's concerned. People have been counting the number of confirmed stages for Smash Ultimate since E3. I know the count is well over 80. I have personally theorized that Nintendo's going to include every single stage that has ever been in a Smash Brothers game. That has since been discounted in an interview. Nintendo did confirm that not every stage is going to be back, but there's already so many. Just imagine how difficult it's going to be to settle on one on your Smash selection screen, which is another interesting thing because you now pick this stage before you pick your character, which is cool because the stage might inform your character selection. You might want to pick a different character based on the stage. If you know Little Mac doesn't play well to one that's going to involve a lot of aerial acrobatics, then maybe you're going to change who you were originally going to pick. We've got another new item. It's called the Black Hole. If the black hole is thrown, it starts to suck everything into it. I think this game has its origins in Kid Icarus Uprising? It seems like it's going to be a fun little addition. Maybe for a brief moment there, your focus is a little bit less on fighting and more on personal survival, so that could get interesting real quick. I don't think we've seen the final Smash Ultimate roster yet. I think between now and when the game is released in December, maybe 2 to 5 more characters will sneak their way into that character selection screen, but it's unlikely our buddy Bomberman is going to be one of them. A Konami special guest character has long been rumored. Bomberman and Simon Belmont's names have been thrown around. I personally would love to see Simon Belmont in the game, but Bomberman has been confirmed as an assist trophy. Now, assist trophy status doesn't necessarily exclude one from being able to appear as a playable character. I know that's some hope for Waluigi fans out there, who was also confirmed to be returning as an assist trophy and not as a playable character as of yet. But for now, I think there's some Bomberman assist trophy fun to be had. He jumps onto the stage to join in the battle, he drops his bombs, and they detonate in his iconic X-shaped pattern, which is remarkably similar to the Smash logo. Well, the negative space of the Smash logo, I guess. Maybe the Smash logo used to be a circle before Bomberman got his hands on it. Just saying. The next character spotlight is my favorite Hylian hero and yours, Link. Link's been my main since the original game. Now, to be totally honest, I've probably mained the Miis the most in Smash for Wii U, but outside of them, Link has definitely gotten the most play by me. And he's the first character that I've played for Smash Ultimate. You immediately notice some aesthetic changes. This is the first time he's not appearing in his iconic green tunic and cap, although you do have the Tunic of the Wild as an alternate skin option. I was excited, like most people, to see how Breath of the Wild influenced his playstyle. Amiibo Jason and I did do a Smash Switch speculation on it, and he falls pretty much in line with some of our milder predictions. His remote bombs replace the bombs of a more standard variety, and instead of 2 inputs where you retrieve the bomb and throw the bomb, you now have to retrieve the bomb, throw the bomb, and then a 3rd input to detonate the bomb. It definitely adds another layer to your strategy, but I think it also adds another layer of complexity, which pulls him a little bit farther away from my playstyle as a total casual. I think it might make Link a little bit more difficult for me to use. And then also, as the hookshot is not featured in Breath of the Wild in any capacity, the hookshot has been removed from Breath of the Wild Link in Smash Brothers, so he has now more of a standard grab, which means he can no longer grab the ledges, and he doesn't have a ranged grab, so downgrade. For his final smash, he also gets to use the ancient arrows. Also, if he shoots an arrow off his bow and it doesn't hit its target, but rather lands on the stage, he can go over, retrieve that arrow, notch it in his bow, and actually shoot both arrows. So that's pretty cool, but again, it's kind of a difficult maneuver to pull off deliberately. I'm curious to see how some more advanced players are able to put this to use, or if they're just going to be subtle little nods to Breath of the Wild, or if they're actually going to be able to be implemented in any significant way. Let me know what you think. Do you like these Breath of the Wild inspired changes, or are they not doing it for you? Next up, we got the Ice Climbers, characters who were originally intended to appear in the previous iteration of Smash, but were ultimately passed over because the 3DS wasn't powerful enough to be able to play Ice Climbers in the event that all 4 people picked Ice Climbers at the same time. No such power issues with the Switch, so Ice Climbers are back. I did go hands-on with this pair at E3, and I found them just as difficult to use as I did back in Brawl. I really like the Ice Climbers. I think they're fun to fight against. I'm very glad that they're making a return into this game. I will never be playing them. I think they have a really high skill barrier, but like many out there, I am celebrating their return. Along with everyone else, my favorite Fire Emblem fighter's back. Corrin gets a special highlight on the Smash blog. Corrin, if you recall, was the final Fire Emblem entry into Smash for Wii U. Everyone expected the Smash ballot winner, who was revealed to be Bayonetta, but before that we were surprised by Corrin, who appears in both a male and a female version, and has the unique honor of being one of only 3 amiibo who also have a Player 2 alternative version that was released. Can't wait to face off with the Dragon Fang in Smash Ultimate. Now for the character nobody thought would make it back, Snake. I can't even imagine the legal loopholes Nintendo had to jump through to get Snake back in the game, but it just goes to show what kind of company Nintendo is, that they can command that kind of cooperation from other companies, like Konami. I've never played any of Snake's games. Honestly, they're not really my style. I was as surprised as anyone by Snake's appearance in Brawl, and actually his inclusion in Smash Ultimate may even be more surprising. I did get to play against Snake at E3. Honestly, not much has changed about his style that would lead me to believe he's going to be a character I have much interest in playing, but I find his inclusion in Smash Ultimate to be incredibly encouraging, because at the very least it means Nintendo and Konami have a good working relationship, which gives hope to my boy, Simon Belmont. One of the amazing tracks we get to experience in Smash Ultimate comes from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's a remix of one of my favorite tunes from that game. I actually believe it's the final battle against Ganon, only it feels like the tempo sped up a little bit. It's got a really driving percussion, perfect to set the mood for a fierce battle. Another musical number being added to Smash Ultimate is Noisy Notebook from the game's Snipper Clips. While it's hard to imagine those little shapes taking chunks out of other fighters, at least we get to appreciate their music. Need a little help on the battlefield? Sukapana's got your back. Summon this little bubblegum looking boy to your side and he'll use his detached fist and feet to beat down the competition. He might even throw them. I have no idea who Sukapan is. Do me a solid and let me know in the comments section below. Actually, you know what, I could just Google it. I'm more curious to know if you know who Sukapan is. Another Pokemon joins the battle, this time Solgaleo from Pokemon Sun. He does some serious damage as he charges back and forth across the stage. And of course you can't feature the cover art character from Pokemon Sun without showing a little love to Pokemon Moon. You can also summon the legendary Lunala forth, who shoots a light beam through the stage. And the final character spotlight for this episode is Donkey Kong! A favorite of mine since the first game. I always make a serious play for him, but honestly it never really pans out. He's just a little too big of a target and he moves a little too slow. But Smash Switch Ultimate, it's his time. It's his time. I say that every game, but you know, this time I really believe it. Some of the quality of life changes, like the game moving a little bit quicker, I think they're really going to play in DK's favor. His charged punch is reported to be one of the strongest moves in the game, and his Conga Beat Final Smash has been updated to a flurry of punches. I'm getting pumped for some monkey mayhem. And that wraps up the Smash blog for the month of June. There was a lot to cover today, so we had to cram it all in. Don't expect every episode to stretch out quite this long, but I'll aim to be back here every week or every other week, depending on Nintendo. Obviously, the entire show is contingent on what Nintendo chooses to announce. Your feedback is always appreciated. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you'd like to see, discuss, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for playing.